he wanted me to be a doctor, to follow his footsteps, because I look a lot like him as well, and I actually have the same hands. And he'd always tell me, you'd make a great surgeon and all that stuff. So I was like, to the core, I was disappointing this man that I looked up to. And yeah, it hurt, but it hurt more. Okay? And that's the key. It hurt more to see myself every day not being satisfied or being in a position every day that I was not happy. Hi, this is Masati. Welcome to my podcast, Xponential Intelligence, where you can change your frequency and change your life. Today, very special topic, is your passion truly yours? Okay? We all have these passions deep inside. When we're a little kid, we want to be astronauts, or we want to be doctors, or we want to be whatever, and then we grow up, and then we start to, go through life. We start to, experience life, and then we start to find out, well, that passion might not be mine. It might be my mom's desire or my dad's desire. Or sometimes, especially if you're of an ethnic background, like, my background, or Chinese background, or, like an Italian background, right? You're not anybody if you're not a doctor or a lawyer or, something to that effect, right? And then what we do is we get trained over time, right? Since you're a little baby, just, since you're just a tiny, tiny little thing, your mom's looking at you, she's changing your diaper, or your dad's looking at you, and it's like, this person's going to be the best doctor ever. This person's going to be the best whatever. I mean, all those frequencies, even if you don't understand what they're saying, the frequencies of you, say, being a doctor. And by the way, there's nothing wrong with a doctor. I'm just using this as an example, okay? It could be an astronaut. It could be a firefighter. It could be whatever. It could be a great leader. It could be a soccer player, a football player. It doesn't matter, but I'm just using a doctor as an example because it's more personal to me. So, and I'll tell you my story later on. So throughout the time, you're indoctrinated by all these frequencies of being somebody. But is that somebody really you? Are you really you? Is your likes, even the food that you eat, the foods that you eat, what you like, the colors that you like, the music that you like, are those really yours? Through the work that I've done over hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people, one-on-one, by the way, one-on-one private sessions, I've realized that as people start to change, their reality changes, their desires change. So are those desires really yours, right? If you say, look like your mom, for example, okay? Or you could look like your dad, or if you have Aunt Sally's blue eyes, right? You're gonna have desires that are more conducive to Aunt Sally or to your mom. So if you're looking like somebody, a lot of your desires, or a lot of your wants, a lot of your tastes, a lot of your preferences, even even your intimate preferences, or the way you look at money, the way you look at relationships, are maybe your mom's or your father's or Aunt Sally with her blue eyes, right? You just didn't inherit the blue eyes. You inherited a lot of other things about, say, Aunt Sally, that's you, or you think is you, okay? And it goes even much deeper than that, by the way. Say you look like somebody, you do the work, like the 18 days, or a private session with me, or some of the other, events that we do. Well, over time, you start to peel away that identity, right? You start to peel away your core essence. You change so much that your whole, like, say, if you look like, your facial structure looked like, say, your dad, you start to change. That's how fast you can change. So even the way you look, your body structure, is it the way that you wanted to look, or did you just inherit that from your parents? So there's more than what you inherit. It's the passion, it's the goals that you want to accomplish, it's the desires, it's the person that you attract, right? All those are inherited as well. So in this episode of the XI podcast, is your passion really yours? And that's where we're going to drill down to. And then furthermore, how to make it your passion. What's truly, truly yours. I'm going to share something personal with you, and it's my story, my, like, say, success, or my goal of what I wanted to be in life, right? So my dad, very famous doctor, very, very prominent doctor, in a lot of countries. And his whole idea and he enjoyed being a medical doctor. He was born to be that medical doctor. But his success mechanisms, right? And this is his thoughts. It's like, well, I enjoy being a doctor, and I'm happy being a doctor, and I'm very successful at it. If you become a doctor, you're going to enjoy being a doctor. You're going to be, enjoy becoming successful. So that connection with that happiness and the joy and the fulfillment that he found, he associated to being a doctor. Okay? And many individuals do that, right? If you have a parent, right, that's highly successful, for example, right? I made a big company, right? And now you should run my company. There's a lot of children go, but Dad, I don't want to run that company. It's not even my passion, right? How many people fall into that category? I actually fell into that category. I was a young kid, and in my culture, Middle Eastern or Persian culture, if you're not a doctor, if you're not a lawyer, if you're not a scientist or anything if you don't have a degree or letters in the back of your name, you're really nobody. Again, it's Italians, right? The Chinese, the Persians, and I'm sure many other cultures are like that as well. Especially if you come into the States, right? Because it's a land of opportunity. You just don't want to waste that opportunity away. You want to get that good education, that grand education. So we go through, again, society standards of what success is or what happiness is going to be for you. But again, is that passion yours? And that's why a lot of times people who do become doctors or dentists or lawyers, they're not happy, right? They're not happy being successful businessmen. This is the reason why. And later on, we're going to show you how to do it properly. But as I was a kid, right, I was basically groomed to be the next doctor in a family. Now, I come from a long line of doctors. My uncle's a doctor. My other uncle's a doctor. My sister's a cardiologist. My other sister's a nurse. Again, health professionals throughout. So naturally, you're groomed to be, say, a health professional, or in this case, a doctor, right? So, and I grew up and I was okay with it. It's like, because he was happy and he was the epitome of, say, a happiness of, dedication and completeness. And I'm going, shit, that's what I want. That's pretty cool, right? And I did. So I went into my teen years, and I'm going, yeah, I still want to be a doctor because it was cool. You say, yeah, you're a doctor, in front of the family, guests and friends and stuff. It's like, dude, you're pretty smart. It's pretty smart. It's pretty. So you have that, that motivation, right? Because people now think you're smart, and you're attractive because you're going to be a doctor. So you get a lot of women that way as well, right? So anyway, you go into, and this is where the plan fell apart for me. So first 2 years of college, I'm studying or getting the coursework to be a doctor, and I started visiting his clinic. He started visiting his clinic and started, helping around or, just hanging out with him and all that stuff. And I hated it, guys. And I'll tell you a couple of reasons why. All the people there were depressed, right? He was a general physician and surgeon back in the day, right? All the people were old. They smelled funny. They had that old people smell. No offense, guys, but they have that certain smell. They're depressed and they're always sick. They're not happy. And I wanted to be that person that's like vibrant. I wanted to motivate people and help people. I didn't really much think about like sports medicines or some of the other great, opportunities that I could have gone into. I think I could have been a great surgeon actually. But anyway, so I went there and I got depressed more and more. And I looked at my life. It's like, oh my God, am I going to have to work my ass off to be, get that education of being a doctor and then live like this for the rest of my life with all these sad, depressed people? And I absorb emotions from people, right? Or I used to, right? I just absorb people and I'm going, I can't do that. When I was just in his office, I feel the sadness and guilt. It took me like an hour or two just to walk away from that, like many of you, right? I couldn't do that. So it forced me to the point that each and every day that I thought about going to college, I'm going, this is going to be the rest of my life. And this is the pivotal key. A lot of people will not make that decision. And that's why I'm telling you this story. How many of you out there got to the point that you said, I cannot see myself doing X, following the family business, following the family tradition, following what your mom or dad wanted you to do or be or go after or even marry somebody, right? But then you didn't have, say, the balls to just go, hell no, I can't do it. I can't do it, no matter what it costs, right? You're going to disappoint a hell of a lot of people, by the way, right? But you know what? Let me finish my story, and then we'll get into the logistics on how to find your passion. Well, he was very disappointed when I said, hey, Dad, I'm going to go into engineering, right? Aeronautical engineering. You think, well, it's like, shit, aeronautical engineering. Well, at least that's an engineer. But no, he wanted me to be a doctor, to follow his footsteps, because I look a lot like him as well, and I actually have the same hands. And he'd always tell me, you'd make a great surgeon and all that stuff. So I was like, to the core, I was disappointing this man that I looked up to. And yeah, it hurt, but it hurt more. And that's the key. It hurt more to see myself every day not being satisfied or being in a position every day that I was not happy, right? So and again, I think I'm freeing a lot of people from this point, even if you've made that mistake and followed that path. Okay? I'm going to show you how to get out of it. So yes, very disappointed. My mom counseled me. It's like, honey, it's okay. Take a while and then come back and be a doctor. That was her decision, right? Try something else. And then, you'll fail at that stuff. And then you can come back and be happy being a doctor. And I'm going, okay. So it didn't work out, right? I went into aeronautical engineering. And that wasn't quite for me either. But over the time, I'm not going to go through my whole life story. Over the years, right? He was okay. He was happy with me and all that, which is fantastic. But you know what really impressed me? When I started doing the work that I do about a decade ago, about 10 years ago, he started to see, say, the changes or the transformations or what I do. At first, he still didn't really believe in what I do. But the cool thing was that some of his patients actually had come to me, and he was telling my dad about me and all the fantastic changes that they had having a session with me. And my dad goes, well, who is this guy? And his name, he goes, well, his name is Masati. And it's like, what? And the deal is that he used Dr. Akbar. That's his first name. He didn't use Dr. Sajati. So people didn't, say, connect the two together. And he's going, Masajati. He goes, that's my son. And then he comes home to me and is like, I just had a couple patients that had sessions with you, and their medical issues went away as well, right? So he got more intrigued on what I did, and more intrigued that he started to believe in what I did. And he asked me to work on him. He asked me to work on some of his clients or some of his patients when he was still practicing medicine. It's like, hey, can you tap into this patient and see what's going on with him? And I would be accurate. And he was really intrigued. It's like, wow, how did he do that? So his core level was really helping people, no matter what it is. He thought it was just being a doctor. So, at the end, I actually fulfilled, and it was the happiest or the most joyous experience. Now, I don't want to get it out there in public, but it would be safe to say that I would be his favorite kid out of 7, okay? Because I actually fulfilled, one, I stayed true to my goal, okay? Because it was very important for him, although he thought that was his goal, right? So you stay true to your goal. And but when you become successful, if you're staying true to your goal, you don't disappoint anyone. Trust me. If you're true to your goal and you become successful and follow that deep desire that, if you want to say, God put into you or your higher essence put into you, that drive, what makes an entrepreneur, right? What makes an entrepreneur, or what makes somebody, create a brand new concept or a brand new invention that's never been before, right? What is that? It's a desire deep inside that says, hey, you got to go this path and create this, say, new destiny for people. If you follow that one instinct, that inner core of who you are, you will not disappoint anybody. Let me say that again. You won't disappoint anybody.